The NBA has had its fair share of villains over time, from Bill Laimbeer with the Bad Boy Pistons, to Dennis Rodman with the Bulls, Reggie Miller with the Pacers making the famous choking motion at Spike Lee and the Knicks. Then we have more modern examples, like Kevin Garnett for basically his whole career, Ron Artest in a similar fashion, LeBron for a while after joining the Heat, and then KD and Draymond with the stacked Warriors teams. However, it seems as if this season we have a new villain emerging. Memphis Grizzlies' own Dillon Brooks. The difference between the players I mentioned before and Brooks, they all had all-star appearances and most viewed them as stars over the course of their career. Brooks isn't a star, leading many to call him a clown or a fake tough guy. However, he's gone viral over the past month or so due to his very public feud with the Golden State Warriors and their stars Draymond Green and Klay Thompson. Whether or not the Dubs want to admit it, it is a rivalry, one of the NBA's newest, and it makes for an interesting matchup every time they go head-to-head. We see monstrous amounts of trash talk from both sides during the games, but it doesn't stop there, as the players have gone back and forth through the media as well. With the Grizzlies winning the last two matchups without their superstar Ja Morant, it's adding more fuel to Brooks' fire. The Warriors continue to respond and downplay Brooks, which just increases his fame and notoriety each time. He's gone about it very intentionally and calculatedly, and Brooks is becoming one of the NBA's biggest villains and one of its most hated players by other teams and their fans. Just like the guys at the top, Brooks is one of those players that you love if he's on your team, but absolutely despise if he's playing against you. To truly understand if Brooks can become the NBA's next great villain, let's look at his history of trash talk and controversies, the level of talent he is and can become as a basketball player, and then how the Warriors rivalry can raise his status even more. Before we get into Dillon Brooks' journey to becoming the NBA's most hated player, if you enjoy my content or watch a few videos of mine, think about subscribing. 96% of my viewers are actually not subscribed, so if you watched me before and enjoy the content, drop a sub and comment down below. It really helps the channel. Dillon Brooks' antics didn't just start recently. He's been this way for a long time. To get a better understanding of that, let's take a look back at his days in college with Oregon. The Ducks were playing Duke in the Sweet 16 of the 2016 NCAA tournament. The Ducks led Duke 79-68 with time running down, and the Blue Devils seemed content to let the time run out without fouling. Brooks proceeded to take and make a 30-foot three-pointer to put the Ducks up 82-68, effectively rubbing salt in the wound of Duke's loss. It made national news as there was a visible conversation between Brooks and Duke's Hall of Fame coach Mike Krzyzewski on the floor after the game. Brooks went on to tell the media that Coach K told him that he was too good of a player to be showing out at the end like that. Coach K went on to deny saying anything like that, claiming he just told Brooks he was a terrific player and that Brooks made up the rest of his statement. Oregon's head coach Dana Altman made a statement at the time saying, "We don't want our players talking ever, so I'm not sure what he said or whatever, but we definitely don't want Dillon talking, just playing." He ended up staying one more year at Oregon after this and then entered the NBA draft. He was selected with the 45th overall pick by the Houston Rockets, who traded him to Memphis on draft night. Whether you like him or not, Brooks has drastically outperformed expectations of him when he was selected in the second round. He is definitely a success story. So before we get into all the recent drama and headlines with Brooks, let's look at his career and his level as a player. He was an immediate contributor, starting 74 of 82 games played as a rookie, where he averaged 11 points. His production increased in each of the 3 healthy seasons after that one, raising his scoring to 16, then 17, and finally 18 points per game last season. His play culminated in the first round of last year's playoffs, where he dropped 23 or more points in 3 games. Outside of Ja Morant, Brooks was probably the Grizzlies' best player, and this was really the first spike in popularity we saw from him. His production has dropped down this season to about 14 points per game, and he's been very inefficient shooting, only 39% from the field and 33% from 3. He's a player who loves to take seemingly heat check shots, and he often has very questionable or poor shot selection. However, he's become one of the best perimeter defenders in the NBA, taking the toughest assignment on most nights. He plays kind of a tall Patrick Beverley role for the Grizzlies, or ironically, almost a Draymond Green type role for them. He's not a star, but he is a very high-level role player, and an important starter on one of the league's best teams for the past 2 seasons. With his level of player out of the way, let's get into all the antics from Brooks this season that have led to him becoming hated and a perceived villain. The Grizzlies have talked a lot over the past couple seasons and have been one of the league's most confident teams. They've targeted the Warriors as their team of interest and want to be the ones to supposedly end their dynasty. This has led to some animosity between the two franchises. During a game earlier in the season, Klay Thompson hit a shot over Brooks, who then fell down, and Thompson very openly taunted him, getting low and staring at him as he ran down the floor. This is likely what sparked the anger in Brooks, who went on a very public anti-Warriors media tour. Before their second to last matchup, there was a very public back and forth between Brooks and Draymond Green. Brooks had some comments coming up to the matchup, saying, "I don't like Draymond at all, I just don't like Golden State. I don't like anything to do with them." Draymond talks a lot, gets away with a lot too. His game is cool with Golden State, but if you put him anywhere else, you're not going to know who Draymond is. He plays with heart, plays hard, knows the ins and outs of their defense. I guess that's why they like him over there. And let's just say Draymond was more than happy to respond. He decided to hop on his podcast to address Brooks' comment, saying, "He said, I just don't like Golden State. I, quite frankly, wouldn't like a team that beats me all the time either. That's number 2. I don't want anything to do with them. Quite frankly, you were a little kid in high school watching us win championships. You should be happy that you even witnessed that. You're a fan. That's crazy." He didn't stop there, next questioning Brooks' basketball IQ and impact on the Grizzlies. If you ever wondered why the Memphis Grizzlies is not ready to compete for a championship, look no further than this idiot right here, Green said of Brooks. They actually are depending on this guy to help them win a championship, and he says his game is cool. Quite frankly, that just shows how little you know about basketball. That's where it gets really interesting. He continues, "Your level of understanding the game of basketball is at a fan level. And you're running around talking about a dynasty. The dynasty starts after you, not with you. That's just a fact. I know dynasty-like players, they aren't clowns. That doesn't work when building a dynasty, take it from me. I actually know. Clowns don't work when building a dynasty." He still wasn't done, finishing by questioning whether Brooks' own teammates even like him. "I'm trying to figure out why they like you in Memphis. Or do they like you in Memphis? That's a better question," Green said. "I'm not sure your teammates like you, but I can tell you why they like me over in Golden State. When you contribute in the way I have contributed to 4 championships, they tend to like you." It's fair to say that Draymond was a little bothered by Brooks' initial comments as he came back with that long-winded response. Although I wouldn't say anything Draymond said was necessarily wrong. The funniest part though, the Grizzlies went on to blow out the Warriors by 21 points without star Ja Morant right after these comments. Then the teams met up again on Saturday, and there was even more back and forth in the last matchup. The teams went back and forth, with Brooks getting in the face of multiple players, including Steph and Klay. The Grizzlies went on to win again, this time by 14 points, again without Ja Morant. Klay Thompson was seen visibly putting up 4 fingers to indicate that they had already won 4 championships, so even though they were losing, it didn't matter because it was a game in March. I think that's kinda corny and lame, but oh well. After the game, Klay Thompson had this to say, "I don't care about Dillon Brooks. When he retires, I don't think anyone will ever talk about Dillon Brooks ever again. I promise you. It's sweet right now, but wait 10 years. There's been a lot of trash talk from both sides, mostly belittling, downplaying by Golden State, even though they've lost both of the last 2 matchups. Whether they want to admit it or not, it is a rivalry. The Grizzlies ended their season in the play-in 2 years ago, and Golden State sent them home in the playoffs last year. We could see a collision course in the playoffs once again." On top of all the stuff with Golden State, there was a clip the other day of Brooks pushing over a camera guy and then staring him down, seemingly for no reason. This added a lot more fuel to the fire for the Dillon Brooks hate train and just continued to paint him as a villain. Some call him a clown, some think he's right, some just find him annoying, but the NBA has a new villain, and his name is Dillon Brooks. The Grizzlies starter isn't a star-level player like we've seen with most NBA villains of the past. However, he seems to be better at getting under opponents' skin than almost anyone of the past decade. He's an elite instigator and a good troller as well. He's gotten into public spats with both Draymond Green and Klay Thompson, as well as Coach K if you want to look back. He also recently pushed over a camera guy and proceeded to stare him down. He may not be a good guy. He fits the villain role perfectly. On top of that, he's a great perimeter defender, a near all-defense level one, and can get extremely hot offensively. Dillon Brooks has become one of the NBA's most hated players and is its newest villain. Let me know your thoughts. Thanks for watching. I'm Herm. Have a good one.